Welcome in to the Film Buffa podcast, part of the Buffa's Buffet Substack newsletter, where I take my lunch break and perform little truckcasts. That's what my very close special somebody to me kind of crowned the name. Not podcasting, we're truckcasting, because I'm in a Dodge Ram, and I'm Dan Buffa. Been writing about movies and sports since about 2011 on the internet, when I started my own website, doseofbuffa.com. The domain still lives, and there's a lot of articles over there. But man, poor grammar, so be easy on me. You know, when you're a writer, grammar gets better the more you do it. The more you do it, the more you learn what not to do and what to do. And so then my film addicts, Eric and Chris, we created a website called filmaddict.com that lasted a few years. It got us on the press list. And then I went to KSTK and Fox 2 and wrote about some hockey for St. Louis Game Time. And then in 2022, I was like, man, it's just cool thing, Substack, this new blog, newsletter, flashy. Every blog that comes out usually just improves on the old one. You know, you had WordPress, Blogger, then you had Medium, then you have Substack. My Cardinal writing friend Daniel Shoptaw was on there, and I was like, Shoptaw only does smart things. So I got on there. Already 1,000 articles there. I write like a machine. I once upon a time wrote 90 articles in a month. Crazy. But the good kind, the output, you know, the opinion-giving kind, the fun kind. Today we're going to be discussing the new trailer that was leaked earlier last week, and now it is out to the masses. It is Avengers Doomsday, the third teaser. There's 4. First one was good old Steve Rogers enjoying what he told Downey Jr.'s Stark at the end of Avengers Ultron, the simple life. He went back, returned the stones, may have done something wrong to upset the multiverse of a certain guy named Doom, and he's living a simple life with Peggy and a kid. We know that's going to end. The second one, and featured Chris Hemsworth with his daughter, who we met in Thor: Love and Thunder. Good old God of Thunder is trying to get back into the battlefield one more time to prove to his daughter that he is a warrior who can come home and not just bring victory, but bring warmth. Of course, Chris says that's so much better than I do. You know, if I could just have his voice and his biceps, I'd be a happier guy. I mean, Chris Hemsworth, well, what are you doing, man? Are those real, man? Do you pack those things with like cement? But the third one is the X-Men. As we've known for a while, the X-Men are coming back, and the third teaser shows, for the most part, Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen. They are talking about, of course, the end of the world, and of course, it's Ian McKellen as he moves a chess piece, you know, with his metallic abilities. He says it's, you know, death is coming for us all, but it's not about, you know, what happens in the end. It's who we are when we close our eyes for the final time. And so the idea is that it's going to be, you know, Doomsday is going to be tough for all the Avengers, including older and slightly younger and younger Avengers. They're all going to feel some pain. And it's going to be like Thanos, but I have a feeling it's going to be even worse. So that's a big part of the trailer. They're sitting playing chess, and then at the very end, we see James Marsden's Cyclops take his mask off, what looks like a scorched earth battlefield, fires bursting, explosions around him, and then he basically booms out of his eyes. I mean, and in that moment, and you know, the trailer's good. It's only a minute and 9 seconds. It mainly shows McKellen and Stewart, but right at the very end, I want to use the rest of this little podcast. It's going to be a short one because I got back in there, and you know, plumbing doesn't pick itself, and the orders don't pick themselves either, and so that's where this guy comes in handy. I pick him, I deliver him, almost do it all, but not really. But I want to give a shout out to James Marsden. I was a little hard on him when he first came on the block as Cyclops and as an actor. I just thought his persona was kind of like smug and kind of almost movie actor fake. I just never really bought him. But in the past few years, when yes, he has acted beside not 1, not 2, but 3 CGI-created characters in movies, including Sonic the Hedgehog. And he played a great president on Paradise. And now he's back as Cyclops, which looks like he's may not make it, but you never know. It looks like he's letting out the final boom of ray from his eyes in this action sequence. He's gotten older, and sometimes actors have to get older in order to really figure out what they're good at, what they can offer the movies, what they can't. Like you don't see Jason Statham trying to be a dramatic actor unless he just says something really serious before he kicks the shit out of somebody. But James Marsden is getting better as he gets older. And even in this little shot of Cyclops seemingly coming out, doing his own last stand, I'm going to just scorch the rest, whatever I can see, and what looks like a losing effort to Mr. Doom, played by Robert Downey Jr., which I think is going to be the next trailer. The fourth and the final trailer was going to be about the guy that's causing all this shit. The guy who looks a lot like Tony Stark, but isn't. I don't know. That's the million-dollar question, how they make that work. But a big shout out to James Marsden, man. I think he's kind of turned things around in a way that, some guys, some men and women, when they go in the movies and they're okay at first, they kind of fade. I think he's found something. I think he's found a relatable aspect on screen. I think the older look on him is kind of giving his movie star looks kind of a good weariness, and he's taken that into his roles. Again, I just feel like he's more comfortable than he's ever been, and you can see that even in that little few second moment as Cyclops. He shows more emotion in those seconds right there than he did ever playing Cyclops before, and it makes me really want to see this movie. So that's out and about. We got 3 trailers out of the 4. I would do a more trailer dishing. I watched Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, which is based on Homer's The Odyssey, and of course Odysseus being played by Mr. Matt Damon. And the cast has Anne Hathaway, Tom Holland, John Bernthal, and the list goes on and on and on. And if anybody can do that story that we all read in school at one point or another, it's Christopher Nolan. Shooting on film, having the greatest music, having the biggest, most movie-esque cinematic look on his movies. And so that comes out this year. I can't wait for that. Avengers and the Odyssey make 2026 look like a lot of fun. And while it's not a lot of fun to get back in and pick out some plumbing, that's what I'm going to do right now after I've now recorded this pod. Because I do this because I love it. I mean, I've been wanting to do more podcasts. It's just all about finding the time and finding the good sound. As my good late radio producing, podcasting friend, Kevin Russell said, the iPhone's got a wonderful microphone. It's got good technology to do a podcast on, but you have to get in an area where your sound isn't going to be messed up. And I'm in my truck, and I got the windows cracked, so I'm not like, because St. Louis weather, we go from 29 to 69 to 40 to 70 to 20. So you got to adjust to the weather. Every day on a podcast, I could be wearing a coat. May not be wearing a coat. May not be wearing a shirt. Stay tuned, baby. But yeah, I do these because I love them and because, I don't know, they detach from doing that stuff. But as I see my good truck driving pal, Tony, the great Tony, return to the warehouse, I must as well. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you go out and watch the trailers for Avengers Doomsday. There's 3 of them now. And watch the Odyssey trailer from Christopher Nolan. Movies are just the best, and they make my life a lot better, in addition to other things. So have a good one. Thanks for watching. Thanks for reading. Thanks for listening. Thanks for putting up with me. I'm not easy to put up with, but you do if you're still here. So have a good one. I love you.